Listen!
Welcome everyone, this is Andre's Restart, and this time we're talking about more Nintendo Direct leaks, but this time it's looking like the leaks are taking an unexpected turn. Now, we are talking about what we believe to be actual leaks, so if you do not want to be spoiled on the Direct, you have been warned. This may actually be spoiling announcements that will be in the Direct. However, these leaks are coming from Pyoro. It's not an official source, it's not Nintendo themselves, it's not actual announcements, so until it's officially confirmed, we should take it with a grain of salt. That said, this person has the best track record. When they say things, it does happen, so I believe it totally. Yesterday we talked about some of their track record and all the things that they talked about before the previous Direct that came true. This time, everything they're saying I'm assuming is coming true as well, but what they're saying is in a cryptic fashion. It is in a way that's more of a hint than actual just straight up telling us what it is, totally. So there is room for interpretation, which makes this a bit fun to talk about. But before we get into these leaks that have taken an unexpected turn, let me point out that we are still aiming to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It may be a lofty goal, but with your help, it just might be possible. Okay, so last time we talked about how it seems like there's a hint towards a Donkey Kong game and an F-Zero game. And I talked about how, for a while, there's been a rumor for an F-Zero GX remaster, and maybe even being made by Next Level Games. But what's being said recently may change my perspective on that somewhat, so let's talk about that first. So here Pyoro says, reminder, Pac-Man 99 will be discontinued in 1 month. Which, okay, maybe that's not related to F-Zero, it doesn't have to be, right? It just means maybe we're getting a replacement for Pac-Man 99. But what gets kind of interesting is that when you check Pyoro's likes, which again, they're just likes, maybe we shouldn't put too much credence on them. However, let me take a look. Pyoro liked because we're getting F-Zero 99. Does Nintendo have any other plans for a new 99 game? F-Zero 99. So, looking at this, all these things he's liked here, it does make me wonder if the implication here is that F-Zero game that we're finally going to be getting is tied into a replacement for the next 99 game. Now, I love Tetris 99, Pac-Man 99 is cool, and I think in theory, an F-Zero 99 would be amazing. If you're familiar with F-Zero X, in that game they have a mode called Death Race, and in Death Race it's 30 racers going down a continuous track. There is no end to the race until everyone dies but one. So imagine like 99 racers on a singular track online, a death race of sorts but with other NSO players. That would be pretty darn cool. Now, the disappointing part by this, if true, is that it may imply that we're not going to get like a quality F-Zero GX remaster and just like a small sort of online game for NSO users that may not even have like really good visuals and maybe more of like the basic kind of visuals like from Super Nintendo or Game Boy Advance. But there's a lot of room for interpretation here. Maybe we still get the GX remaster. Maybe this 99 game has to do with an online mode in F-Zero GX. Maybe they are two totally separate things and both are happening. Maybe looking at Pyoro's likes don't really mean that much. But at the very least I'll say it's put some doubt on what I initially thought Pyoro was alluding to. So I'm hoping for a high quality F-Zero GX remaster with greatly enhanced visuals and online and maybe some new content, maybe something like a 99 mode. But it's also totally possible that our replacement for the next 99 game is an F-Zero 99. But thinking more on it, a Mario 99, a Tetris 99, a Pac-Man 99, those things make sense. They are classic franchises that are known throughout. F-Zero isn't that popular, so for F-Zero to all of a sudden be the 99 game, I'm suspicious of that. So I'm very curious what this is actually alluding to, but I don't think it's just straight up F-Zero 99. Of course, I could be wrong. Moving on here, Pyoro is expanding upon his Donkey Kong related tweet. First he had the little rolling gif from the Mario movie where Donkey Kong was coming into the fight. But here he says, you see who he is, but never see who he is fighting. And then shows this other image. And people seem to think that Pyoro is alluding to a new Mario vs. Donkey Kong game. Which seems to be pretty much confirmed here, because does it have the minis? Someone asks. Supasta dead for the 4th time, and Pyoro replies, yes. And there are other things that's been said that basically suggests he is alluding to a Mario vs. Donkey Kong game. Which is not the big new Donkey Kong platformer I was hoping for either. So, is it just a Mario vs. Donkey Kong? Which I don't want to say just, because that's a pretty cool series and I would love for that to return, but not in place of a new traditional Donkey Kong platformer. So I'm a little bit divided on this one. Does this mean that we're not getting the brand new Donkey Kong game? Does this mean that the rumor is false? I don't think it is. But maybe it means that the new Donkey Kong game isn't coming until Nintendo Switch 2 and they're saving it. And instead we're just going to get a Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which likely is going to be a side-scrolling puzzle platformer, which actually would be pretty darn cool. It's some quality gameplay. I would have loved to have seen Donkey Kong be the true star here, but also we don't know what it's going to be titled. It may have some roots with Mario vs. Donkey Kong, but it may be its own thing as well. So even if it is a Mario vs. Donkey Kong style kind of game, until we see it in actuality, I think we should reserve our judgments on it. But I will point out, I did say that whatever this Donkey Kong game is, it's not quite what we're going to expect, and this would not be what I would expect. I for sure thought it was a mainline Donkey Kong platformer. But the leaks don't stop there, so Pyoro posts this Japanese text, you translate the post, it's finally Princess Peach time. And then also says, whoever says no name reveal for that game should delete their account before getting banned from Fami next week. So, basically, yes, we're going to get the title and more details on the untitled Princess Peach game, which really shouldn't come as any surprise because, well, yeah, that's something that would definitely update us on after the previous Direct, so for sure we're getting information on that, no real doubt there. And the next and final leak we'll be talking about here from Pyoro is where he says remakes of a DS game and a Wii game. Okay, remakes, so I guess more than one. But here, someone asks, is the DS game DK related? Pyoro says no. Okay, so it's not anything to do with the Donkey Kong game that we will be seeing. And then someone else asks, the DS and Wii game are related? And then Pyoro says yes. So it's not Donkey Kong related. It is some type of Wii or DS game that are related, and they are remakes. Is it possible these remakes will be made into one singular package? Potentially. And in terms of what it might be, I am not sure. I guess I'm sort of thinking about games that came out on both DS and Wii that were slightly different versions that maybe could be remade into its own sort of package. There's definitely a few possibilities. One that comes to mind is Rhythm Heaven. Another possibility that I'll just simply bring up that I would like to see is maybe a remake or a reimagining of the Trauma Center games. That would be pretty darn cool. I always loved that concept. The DS and the Wii were relevant at the same time. They had a lot of games that were related, so there are a decent amount of possibilities here. So your guess is as good as mine. I'm not sure. Rhythm Heaven, I kind of circled back to that one, but that's just because that may be the most popular one that I can think of. But yes, there are a lot of possibilities. Ultimately, looking at the leaks that we've gotten here, I can see how some might be kind of disappointed, because yesterday we saw the leaks and we're like, oh snap, an F-Zero GX remaster, amazing. Oh snap, a new Donkey Kong platformer, amazing. And then after this next bout of leaks from Pyoro, we're now questioning what the F-Zero game is. Is it an F-Zero 99 game that isn't as ambitious as an F-Zero GX Big Boy remaster? Or is it somehow separate? And then with the Donkey Kong game, we thought it would be a mainline new Donkey Kong platformer, and now it's looking more like maybe a successor to what we saw with Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which was definitely a simpler style kind of game, but still could be very fun. And then these DS and Wii games, we're not quite sure what they'll be either, but I'm sure it'll be kind of cool. I think ultimately what we have to take into consideration here is that we don't quite know what these are. These are hints, and if some of these announcements aren't as high profile, I think that opens the door for other high profile announcements to be in the Direct. So for example, yesterday when we made the video talking about the Donkey Kong and F-Zero things. If the F-Zero thing and the Donkey Kong thing aren't that big of a deal, I think we could see other major Nintendo announcements. Maybe Metroid Prime 4 could be a big showcase at the show. Or perhaps something else that's entirely different, but also equally exciting. We'll find out in just a few days. Anyways, everyone, this is Andres Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.